Hello there. Hope you're doing well. So yesterday I saw the new Gretel and Hansel movie. This film is directed by Oz Perkins, previously directing I Am the Pretty Thing That Lives in the House. Now Oz Perkins brings us Gretel and Hansel, which, despite my lack of enthusiasm when getting ready to talk about this movie, for the most part, there was some really great cinematography and has a lot of neo-horror elements that remind me a lot of Robert Eggers' The Witch. The performances were really well done. You got Sophia Lillis in this movie and Sammy Leakey playing Gretel and Hansel. And you have Alice Krige playing Hulda, which in my opinion, she steals the show. Her way of whispering to the characters and moving around at this kind of weird, juddery pace in the film, it's just really effectively creepy. Speaking of effectively creepy, the soundtrack in this film. It reminds me of the Halloween soundtrack, which I never tire of hearing. Despite all the good in this movie, there's still a lot of bad. The film has this classic aspect ratio. At first, it's really cool, but after a while, as more characters get introduced, things start to get more claustrophobic, and it just becomes boring to look at. Despite the good performances in this movie, it doesn't save it from the fact that there just isn't much there for the characters. There just isn't enough screen time with Gretel and Hansel in this to really get me to care about what's going on screen. To be honest, there were a lot of moments where I just kind of checked out. I also hate this stupid wet fart of a narration in this. You would think a movie with some cool cinematography would want to use some more show, less tell. I remember when the movie was over, as I was getting ready to leave, there were a bunch of middle schoolers who sprinted past me whispering,
"That wasn't scary at all."
Even though they're not necessarily wrong, this movie isn't really that scary. It does bring up something interesting, though. Most kids that age are used to big, ooga-booga, scary clowns like, It and stuff like that that's kind of more like a roller coaster ride. It's nice to see a horror film that's a little bit more subtle. However, in this case, I think they went a little bit too subtle, and there just isn't enough there for me to keep my attention. Overall, if you're into the classical style of horror films, you might like this. Other than that, I would skip on this one. I'm curious to know what you thought about Gretel and Hansel. Did you like it? Did you think it was a complete and utter waste of your time? If so, comment down below. Anyway, I have to get going. I'll see you next time.